The term social media was first used in 1994 on a Tokyo online media environment called Matisse. It was in these early days of the commercial internet that the first social media platforms were developed and launched. Over time, both the number of social media platforms and the number of active social media users have increased significantly, making it one of the most important applications of the internet. Hi, welcome back. Today we're going to talk about 25 years of social media, a review of social media applications and definitions from 1994 to 2019. We've been covering social media paths, also IoTs and other terms that are linked to technology and what we're facing nowadays in this modern world. Also, not all social media platforms are specifically designed to facilitate socialization between its users. It may be considered one of the most apparent commonalities of all types of social media. Sometimes referred to as online communities, these social media platforms are valuable given that people often do not perceive a difference between virtual friends and real friends, as long as they feel supported and belong to a community of like minded individuals. For you, is the same a virtual community as having a presential community? Is it the same to you? Can it have the same luggage, responsibilities, also people, type of roles, etc.? Social media helps to fortify relationships through the sharing of important life events in the form of status updates, photos, and more, reinforcing at the same time their in person encounters as well. So now it is curious that, for example, Facebook, they started counting not the amount of followers, but the amount of friends you had, because that was like a really, really palpable purpose and goal for you to connect with closer people. But nowadays, of course, that isn't a priority or first priority anymore for most companies and people. With a similarly fast pace, businesses have moved their marketing interests towards social media platforms. The presence of both businesses and users has further led to a shift in how companies interact with their customers, who are additionally no longer limited to a passive role in the relationship with the company. Now we are in potential friends, we are potential customers. Customers get feedback, ask questions, and expect quick and customized answers to their specific problems, opening the gate to community management. In addition, customers post ads, pictures, and videos. Managers came to the understanding that the brand transition to social media ultimately involves a recasting of the customer relationship and therefore a sales funnel, where the customer has become an ally or an enemy, not an audience, but a prospect. In research, social media is generally used as an umbrella term that describes a variety of online platforms, including blogs, business networks, collaborative projects, enterprise social networks, forums, microblogs for sharing, products reviews, social bookmarking, social gaming, video sharing, and virtual worlds, and more. Given this broad and pretty wide spectrum, and taking into account that more and more are summoned into this list, of social media platforms, the applications of social media are quite diverse and not limited to sharing holiday snapshots or advertising and promotion. It is also important to say that social media has also become a common tool for communication in families. We also have a study conducted by sponsor like Gitemu, sorry if I mispronounce it, show that for 91.7% of students, the main reason for using social media is communicating with family and friends. So I opened, wait, is Telegram a social media for you? Is email a social media for you? Is WhatsApp a social media for you? Let me know. In addition, 50% of the students communicated with their families and friends every day, and another 40% at least a few days a week. That's why nowadays some tools or even apps utilizing the same technologies that we use to spread our own thoughts and words on social media. We have like apps that can block some applications for us to have some time outside technology, because it has become even disturbing for some people to even have all that allowance that now social media brings to us. We also have, especially in relation to globalization and custom migration, it has become a vital tool for maintaining contact with the migrant families. The need for transnational communication between family members and the people they left behind is of great importance. Going back to the focus of the first, or one of the first purposes of us using social media to start with. As of January 2020, there are more than 110,000 publications that have the term social media in their title. Before that, in which these works were published, countless researchers have formulated quite varying definitions of social media. As I mentioned in my previous video, people are still debating what social media is, sometimes using alternative terms even. During this period, the perception and understanding of what social media is, what it includes, and what it represents has also varied considerably. This can make it difficult for both researchers and companies to interpret and apply research findings. For example, we're referring to social media in general, and I have to ask, what is social media in general? Rather than referring to a specific type of social media, it can be problematic to quote previous research that was carried out exclusively on one social media platform as being generalized to social media. Because why is that? Because now we have networks, and each network has its own specifications. Because some people that started social media had a different purpose, because they needed to have differentiators in order for them to build up a business or a company. That's a qualifier that companies need to have. What makes me different from Facebook? What makes me different from Instagram? What makes me different from another social media platform? So now we only have networks. So that's why, what is social media? We also refer to results from research that defines social media as being more or less inclusive in terms of which platform qualify as social media and which do not. So we need to start from the definition in order to determine that first. We continue that we also need to account that social media significantly influences the romantic aspects of life, not only the family members to stay in touch. Aside from facilitating human interaction, communication technologies are also shaping and defining our relationships. It has been shown that social media is important in the starting phases of a relationship and has a significant influence on the relationship of many couples in the long run. The social media can help when starting a romantic relationship, for example. Contacting a crush through social media can have special benefits for introverts who otherwise would avoid face-to-face contact. And in general, people that are afraid of going out, starting from on a forum or a social media platform, it's better for some. In some cases, online dating is preferable to live dating, and it gives the same feeling and allows users to avoid unnecessary discomforts. But nowadays, we also have platforms that are encouraging us to go out and have dates in person, because we're bad tired of the apps for online dating. So it's like going into in a cycle or phases, from my perspective. Further, users can contemplate their responses and do not have to worry about their physical appearance while conversing chatting online because you only need one picture and that's it. Let's try to make this work. Making it less stressful and also easier to flirt with people rather than face to face. But of course, everything has its pros and cons, right? Tell me your story. It is estimated that close to 100% of larger companies are using some sort of social media platform to inform their customers, gather information, receive feedback, provide after sales service or consultancy, and promote their products or services. The key characteristic that makes social media so relevant for companies is the fact that social media allows for two-way communication between the brand and the customer, sometimes referred to as social customer relationship management. Social media can be viewed as an effective tool used to get closer to the customer. However, some studies suggest that what customers seek is somewhat different from what companies offer through social media. Customers are mainly interested in communicating easily and quickly with the company. From a business perspective, the company wants to make sure customers receive the right information in a timely manner, linking the customer closer to the brand and simultaneously controlling the flow of information. That's why community management have been like blowing up recently because I not only need you to buy, I need you for you to know that we are here with you, that we care for our customers, that we care for our users, that we care for our audience as well. So those are different type of relationships and funnels. Let's start also determining things as funnel because it's also important. We have now a communicational funnel to make the user feel closer to a branding and then therefore to a voice. Successful social media managers understand how a social media platform works and is used by its customers because the tone is important. And then develop corporate communication tools that fit the behavior of their users and therefore their audience. Many researchers highlight the need for customer relationship management to adapt to the rise of social media. But when is too much? To effectively manage relationship with modern, connected, and empowered customers. Now, for people that are looking for jobs, the vast majority of Fortune 500 companies use LinkedIn for talent acquisition. With more than 660 million users in 2020, it is an important tool for companies searching to expand their talent pool. This pool of individuals is extended as the nature of social media also allows recruiters to identify and target, apart from active users, talented candidates who are passive or semi-passive and lure them to prospective job positions. So for example, if on social media they get income by paid advertisement, LinkedIn also do that, but also LinkedIn does it by their sales navigator. That's another way for companies to target potential candidates and to fast forward a direct communication with them. Rather than the costly and time-consuming traditional ways of staffing with interviews and tests, hiring through social media offers recruiters the benefit of free access to prospects' profiles and an instant means of communication. I remember that now we have paid tools such as the sales navigators. That is like an yes, it's a way to target prospects, but also a paid way for you to make it like accurately and also worthy in a great HR or people management type of standardized manner. So if you want to do it and you want to do it right, you also have to pay. So social media has a considerable impact on how companies approach clients and vice versa. In addition, social media utilizing as means of understanding and informing customer has become imperative for businesses to remain competitive. The social media providers have created possibilities for companies to improve their internal operations and to profit from it as well. Also communicating new ways with customers, targeting them, but also other businesses and suppliers. To interact with each other and to encounter each other is easier for a company to become visible once you just create a profile live. Now it's out there to the public. At the same time, companies can actively engage customers, encouraging them to become advocates for their brands. We introduce pay media advertisement. This is really important as users can create online customer communities with potentially adding value to the brand beyond just increased sales, but also damaging the image as well. The engagement of customers can be beneficial. And then we have affiliate marketing, referral programs, and others. They will frequently interact with the brand and share positive word of mouth since they have become more emotionally attached to the brand. That's why now we have businesses that are constantly inquiring about positive reviews because now reviews are important, experiences are important, video reviews are important. This electronic word of mouth created in social media communities helps consumers in their purchasing decisions and also in embed in Google on their business profile outside social media on the internet is nowadays very important. This has given the customers an open door and can be more interested in other users' recommendations and word of mouth rather than the vendor created product information. But now we have both and a third one that's the digital word of mouth, right? But what do you think of it? I think that yes, we open a Pandora's box that we no longer cannot close. So what are we going to do with it? The fact that social media connects people, this is nowadays something common, a common goal that it has, or for some people it have. But still the definitions are different from social media to social media. The commonalities and differences highlighted are also definitions that can vary before 2010, and then you can find out the definitions after 2010. Before 2010, social media was commonly approached as a tool of connecting for people with common interests. After 2010, the focus changed to creating and sharing user-generated content. These results are in line with previous research about the evolution of social media literature, which concluded that social media definitions change over time, namely from platforms for socializing in the past to tools for information aggregation. This shows that there is no single or commonly accepted definition, but the several definitions have been coexistent and found broad acceptance in literature. Future social media researchers can use these findings to very compare social media articles and avoid flawed in their theory and methodological design. They need to compare the results and actually differentiate between the decades or the years what we were talking about back then about social media. But we have social media defined by researchers from different scientific backgrounds as well. For example, marketing versus medicine versus psychology versus anthropology versus engineering, and so on. It will be also insightful to see whether there are tendencies of certain researchers, for example, from engineering, to base their research on specific definitions rather than others. If one definition is dominant in engineering but not in medical research, this would imply that interdisciplinary research about social media applications needs to be compared more carefully, as the basic definition refers. And this could be an example as well. Similarly, it will be interesting to link the use of social media definitions to the cultural or national context of where the research was carried out. For example, to identify whether European versus American versus Asian researchers have a generally different understanding of social media and its applications. These possible cultural differences in the definition of selection of a social media definition as a basis for research could be linked to the fact that in different countries and cultural clusters, different social media platforms are more or less popular as well. For example, nowadays you use Snapchat. A yes or no will depend on the country you're at and that you've been growing up and what you actually do for work, personal life, and others. Overall, this will help compare findings, this research and others from social media literature more easily and avoid misinterpretations of past and future research. So this is the purpose, to make an analysis and then leaving the door open and analyze for other people to come. So for you, what social media, and do we need to define social media depending on each social media platform, or maybe not? Can we generalize the term? And now that we did social media, can we generalize the definition? And read you in the comments.